Did you know Real Madrid literally started a game with no Spanish player at all, just star players from around the whole world? Football is not only a competition to find out who was the best kicker or defender. If it worked, then people would create perfect AIs to watch them kick the ball. It has value where we see people develop, especially when it's our domestic players that represent us and give us glory. So first of all, I'll give it a metric. Second, a characterization. Third, I'll give the arguments filled with preemptions. So first of all, we believe the metric is what is good for the sport in general, and we believe that they should be judged by the fans in the sense that what is good for the sport in the sense that the fans like it more. The characterization first. For football, we believe that football is deeply rooted in the culture of Europe in general. For example, English people gather around on holidays to watch football. We believe that football is a sport with representation, and team has around 26 players in a squad, so 5 new members is not incredibly challenging. And the problem with status quo is that football is run by money, not the fans. UEFA and FIFA is all for profit. And top teams like England, like Spurs or Man City, having very few English players is a big problem right now. And although technically impacted to all teams, the setting of the motion is more in successful leagues and successful teams in general, which looks like big clubs in England or Spain. This is because this is not a problem in countries that are not internationally popular. For example, the Czech league mostly has Czech players anyway, and Sheffield United mostly has English players anyway, at least more than 5. We believe that the football leagues today is a place where domestic players can grow, and we see the importance because they compete in international competitions, and regulations already exist for the prosperity of both the new leagues and the teams. Like for example, the English Premier League checks if each new player is competent enough. So how would our world look like? We believe that right now there are only nudge policies to encourage teams. For example, EPL homegrown policies. Now, we have forced teams to have at least 5 players that are domestic, and teams can either purchase competent domestic players, but they can also develop youth systems to grow more young domestic talents. Okay, moving on to the first argument, the representation of the country. So what is the principle here? The football league of the country is symbolic of representing the country. It is within the country, it shows the football culture, and overall is part of showing what the country is. So why is the principle applied here? It is true that people like foreign players, they increase the quality of the game. However, they would still want to see their own players representing the league, because as a league representing the country, it feels and seems wrong to have 4 of their own country or less than that. The practical impacts here are simple when you look at the principle, because the fans of sports care a lot about the value of the sports in general, and they care about the representation. So they feel attacked when they see that their league is being dominated by a Norwegian striker, a Brazilian goalkeeper, and a Portuguese defender, with very little English players or domestic players inside of their own squad. And for older fans, the part of the reason why I like that club is the fact that the club represents my city in general. For example, Liverpool, the reason I support Liverpool can be because I support the part of that England. And that would be a big reason why I started liking the club, seeing Gerrard playing or other English players playing. So if the players are not from the country, let alone that city itself, we lose that benefit in general. And clubs have a duty to listen to their own citizens because they have spent a lot of time to support their own club, and so we need to listen to them. Okay, so some pieces of preemption. First of all, they might say that it doesn't mean that you need to be a citizen to be a part of the culture. However, we believe that this is not like a racist policy because you do not need to be a white person to be English. Like we see people with other heritage such as Saka and Sid playing for England, like they don't need to be absolutely white. We're just saying that they need citizenship because that is the point where players want with citizenship because that shows you're willing to be in the culture and be a person of the country. Next of all, they might say that the success of the league is more important. However, we believe that they will not lose the competition, and this debate practically only takes place in top English clubs in Real Madrid, and there's no real threat of like Villarreal or Quellen having 4 less domestic players. That is not realistic. But right now, due to the capital-centric nature of football that infinitely divides these clubs and others, means that the impact that is given, which makes them less competitive, is not actually true. But second of all, success itself does not really give that much happiness. There's no inherent good in kicking a ball greatly. If that's the case, they would create robots to do it. And it is the stories that create that matters, and weigh against this argument, where people rather have many players give happiness than watch soulless football with none of their players inside of the team. I don't think that is what people want. And lastly, they might talk about how individual success is important, but we don't believe that individual success is a big metric when it's just 5 players inside of the club, and that is not a big metric. Like, if they really are not successful to be in the other 21 players in the list, they can go to a slightly lower team that has like more than 5 English players already, or more than 5 domestic players already. So if the opposition says that, that would be an irrelevant argument. Before I move on to the second argument, POI. Seeing that, the second argument is that it develops competitiveness in national competition. So why is this true? Top clubs are in the place where players are grown, and now there's more incentive to let their players in the academy from a young age and grow that talent actually. Additionally, this looks like clubs buying domestic players that don't get a chance anywhere, and talents of the players themselves are grown, so the national teams get stronger in general. And furthermore, because they're in the same team together, the players that have already tested chemistry is better inside of the team. So because we have stronger talents, players have chemistry inside of these domestic clubs, and because they can actually get a chance from these domestic clubs where they are being able to play in the 5-player roster, we believe that the quality of the national team gets better. Now, what is the impact here? because this is the foremost interest of fans in sports. They feel a different sensation when they win the World Cup or the Euros rather than the league, which I would know especially because the biggest stakeholder of this motion is England, who are traditional giants but haven't won it for 58 years and has never won the Euros at all. Because this is because people feel a stronger tie to the country than their club, and country level football is a greater skill in general. And aside from the value of sports, international success brings capital to the football in the country in general. A big reason why non-football fans start watching football is watching their country's star player scoring the last minute winning goal and win the World Cup because it's their country and they get excited when they are good at it. And it is very non-intuitive for them to start watching football because of a club game that they are unaffiliated with. And this acts as a gateway for watching the club games too. The increase of fans means increased match revenue, like increased merch revenue, and increased TV revenue, because the fact that they have started watching football because of the World Cup means that they will also watch club games. They will also fuel money inside of the players. Now, money being fueled inside of this game is very important because it increases the quality of football in general. If I get more money, I'm able to increase the quality of the stadiums. I'm able to increase the quality of the judiciary body, or like the executive body inside of football in general, making the quality better and more checked and balanced in general. And if I get more money, that means more stadiums and more merchandise that is more efficient, or even like better facilities for the players, better health doctors for the players, which also the watchers can benefit because they'll be watching better quality of football in general. Now, one rebuttal that they may make is that this quota makes players get too used to the play style inside of their own league, so therefore they're not able to learn other styles in other leagues in general. However, we still believe that it's just a 5% gap, so we still have domestic players playing inside of the foreign league. We still have English players playing the Spanish league. We still have Spanish players playing the English league. We believe that just because we put 5 people does not mean that we'll be encapsulating ourselves into our domestic leagues. And if that is a problem, then we should have like policies separating like Croatian players outside of the Croatian league or other Eastern European players out of that league. We believe that this is a relevant factor. And also, this is something that the coaches can teach their players. So even if the play style is different from the England and the rest of the world, the fact that the coaches can tell other types of playing styles to their players does not mean that it is very difficult for them to learn a completely new style, and they can also learn from the foreign leagues in general. So therefore, since we are doing what the fans want in general, by able to represent their league and also increase the quality of the national team in general, we strongly believe that the proposition side should already take this debate.
3 p.m.
Yeah.